Public Safety Minister Gary Ananda Sangari is once again in the middle of controversy. He was caught on tape questioning his Liberal government's gun buyback program. On with Vashi Kapelos yesterday, the minister defended himself.
Much of the conversation were part of previous conversations I've had with this individual. The logic of this, I know he does not accept. I have tried to explain this in the past. We have not been able to agree on it, so that's why I dismissed it as such. I believe in the program. I ran on this program when I ran to be an MP. A couple of things there were completely, where I was misguided. There was two times at one point I said I will bail him out, and another time I said I will compensate him. Obviously, they're in just in a private conversation, not to be taken at face value.
But you're a minister. With all due respect, you're a minister of the Crown who is in charge of the public safety of this country. Why would you make light of a program you know is fraught with controversy?
Actually, this is a 20-minute conversation I had with someone I've known for many years. I'm sure if you were recorded in a private conversation, there may be things that you would have said, or things, the way you say it, that may be different than in a public setting.
So there you have it there, part of Minister Ananda Sangari's defense. Of course, that gun buyback program, very controversial, especially in certain parts of the country. It's going to cost a lot of money. And now you've got a minister seemingly questioning the program. Let's go to Melissa Lantsman now, Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Ms. Lantsman, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
What are your thoughts on Minister Ananda Sangari and his defense? You heard on Vashi Kapelos' show.
Well, I mean, he said the quiet part out loud. I think it's even more so. He said the truth when he thought nobody was listening. This is, of course, after years of soft on crime policies that have made Canadians feel unsafe. We've got violent crime up 50%. We've got gun crime up 130%. We've got extortion up 300%. And so instead of fixing the very things that we expect from the public safety minister, he's going ahead with a buyback program, or a confiscation program, I should say, that he knows and has said out loud now won't work and won't keep people safe. This is a big part of the Liberal government's promise, and now you have the public safety minister, the guy in charge, undermining the entire program.
It does seem like for the gun buyback program, the train has left the station. This program is happening, even despite the fact we have police forces in the country saying they don't have the resources, they're not going to enforce it. So I just want to ask you, and the cost here is unbelievable, right? I think it's $742 million allocated to the program. So what are your thoughts on, it seems like there's no way of stopping this program despite what you hear in private conversations or despite what you hear from police forces.
Well, that's exactly right. So it's $750 million, which could hire 5,000 RCMP officers. It could buy 300 port scanners. It could fund 37,000 treatment beds. All of that money can do other things that will actually keep the public safe. We've said this a long time about the gun confiscation program, is that it takes guns away from law-abiding citizens, and it does nothing to stop the leaky border, nothing to stop the illegal guns flowing in, and nothing to stop the actual gun crime that has gone up in this country. So now you have, and this is serious, now you have the minister responsible for this, the premier program of the Liberals, now saying that it's not going to work and it's a big waste of money. So the question is, of course, is he competent to do his job? But the bigger question is why is he going ahead with this, knowing full well that it won't work? And there's another thing in that tape that's really concerning. He's effectively telling people not to follow the law, and that if they do get burned by the law that he said that doesn't work, he's going to compensate them for their pain. Now you have a public safety minister now telling people not to follow his own program, not to follow the government's laws, and that he will bail them out. That's a problem for a minister of a crown. That's a problem for anybody who serves in government.
And I'll be very honest. Like I laughed out loud when I heard him say, to journalists, you're not taking into consideration the context that it was a private conversation. And I'm like, that makes it worse, actually. Like, that's like, because
that makes it, you say the truth when you think no one's listening.
Yeah.
That's not exactly confidence inducing for the public, particularly a public that has seen this government fail on crime so badly. A government that hasn't put forward any new bail laws. We have the OPP in Ontario not participating in this program. We've got Crown Corporations saying, nope, I'm not doing it either. And now you have the minister saying this won't even work.
But I do have to bring up this side of things, right? Because there is support for this program from a lot of people. The minister in his private conversation brought up Quebec. Here in Quebec, we don't like guns, and rightfully or wrongfully, I know the law-abiding gun owners, they hate this kind of notion, but there is a lot of public support for getting rid of any gun possible anyway, anyhow. What do you say to people that are in favor of something like this? What do you say to the people at Police se souvient that have worked for decades now to remove guns from Canadian society?
We talk about the guns that need to be removed from the streets. That's the illegal guns that are actually used in crime. That's the guns flowing over the border. That is not a $750 million confiscation program from hunters, from indigenous groups, from people that use guns as a way of life. They're targeting the wrong people. If you want to solve a problem, let's have a conversation about how to solve a problem. But when you have the minister of the Crown who's responsible for this program telling Canadians that it won't work, I think it's out of time that we ought to listen to him. And frankly, I think it's time for the Prime Minister to show Canadians that he doesn't have confidence in that minister anymore.
We're with Melissa Lantsman, Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. I'm happy you brought up the Prime Minister because he says he's standing by his public safety minister. He still has confidence in Gary Ananda Sangari. I have to ask you, Ms. Lantsman, it's not just about this leaked audio. There are other controversies already surrounding the public safety minister. What are your thoughts on the public safety minister, and should he get and maybe make your case that he should get the boot?
Well, look, I think he's shown a pattern of failure in the short time that he's there. The minister has already been caught meddling in immigration decisions tied to national security. He's failed to ban the Bishnoi gang, a terrorist organization in this country. He lost track of 600 non-citizen criminals, 70% of whom are violent offenders, and he broke his promise to hire 1,000 RCMP and CBSA officers, a promise that he stood by yesterday and said that was going forward, even though the evidence is there to clearly say he isn't. I'm not sure how you have confidence in a minister who continues to fail. It looks like he's failing upwards, and now he's being kept in a position for undermining the government's own program about gun confiscation. I think the Prime Minister ought to go back to the drawing board and find a public safety minister that is there to keep the public safe.
Last question for you. Is the public safety minister, Gary Ananda Sangari, is he compromised in any way? There have been a lot of discussions. He wrote letters for people alleged to have ties to a group designated as a terrorist organization in Canada, Tamil Tigers. There's a lot of links and there's a lot of reporting that's been done on this subject. Is the minister compromised in any way?
Well, look, I think the minister has failed on all of these occasions. I'll let the authorities certainly speak to his involvement in that. But we have seen time after time the minister fail on keeping Canadians safe, and it is up to the Prime Minister to show him the door.
We're going to have to leave it there, Ms. Lantsman. I want to thank you so much for coming on CJAD this morning.
Thanks so much.
Melissa Lantsman is Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.